How's it going, everyone? This is Dr. Hefe with the Epilogue for Disco Elysium, the final cut. So in the last episode, we beat the game, we solved the case, solved the murder, found out what happens to Harry Dubois and Kim Kitsuragi, and I don't think this episode should have any spoilers in it, but if you want to, go ahead, watch the finale, watch the final couple of episodes to understand what's going on. But this one, I'm just going to be talking basically about my thoughts about the game and what we're going to be doing moving forward. So yeah, let's start with my thoughts. So this was my second playthrough of the game. There was a lot of novelty to it, and hopefully during this playthrough I didn't, do any spoilers, like while I was playing. I knew pretty much how the game would go. The game does follow a similar plot, even though there was a lot of new things, especially based on what your skills are and kind of what you put your points into. Like, we were very high in physique, somewhat high in motorics, but low psyche, low intellect. And in my first playthrough, I had very high psyche, very high intellect, and low physique, low motorics. So some of the voices that you got were different, which leads to different choices that you can make throughout the game. So that was pretty cool. I like that there's enough difference in the game just based on how you spec out your character, what points you spend your experience on, and also just what choices you make overall. There are choices that you can do, like in terms of what kind of police officer you want to be. There is the Superstar Cop, Apocalypse Cop, Sorry Cop, Boring Cop. First time I was Superstar Art Cop. This time Apocalypse Cop was very interesting. And I was Communist the first time through, and then Ultra Liberal this time. So you get a lot of different choices there as well, which is fun. It's nice that this game is very replayable in that way. And like some of the new things that I saw were amazing. Like, I didn't know you could actually shoot down the corpse. I thought if you try to shoot the corpse, like, you would miss wildly, which I suppose is something that can happen if you fail the check. But I thought, like, you would miss wildly, maybe shoot the corpse itself, and like blood and guts would spill everywhere. Not an outcome that I wanted to have. But it was cool that we could actually shoot it down, didn't have to go into the docks and, get some help from Everard Claire and all that stuff. And then Kim just gives you a high five. We were all aces high. That was legit. Another thing that was new for me was the fact that you could actually, put the gun in your mouth, well, put Kim's gun in your mouth when you're trying to impress Titus. And that was such a shock for me when he pulls the trigger, like the game crashed and like everything was got all messed up from just that one choice that you can make. It's amazing these outcomes that are there that you wouldn't get on like a first playthrough, and probably that a lot of people wouldn't get just playing the game their way. Like, there's different outcomes that can happen. I believe Kim could possibly die or get injured in the shootout. I'm sure there's probably a way you can save everyone in the shootout, maybe, if you're really skilled. Maybe you can convince them not to have a shootout. I don't know. It doesn't seem to go well, though. In both the playthroughs, there's just a shootout. Oh, Kuno. Like, the first time I played through, I was trying to be all nice and kind to him. This time we tried to punch him and failed, and we were his little bitch, basically, and had to go get him drugs so that he would trust us. That was... oh my goodness. It's an amazing game. An amazing game. Definitely worth a first playthrough, and if you loved it as much as I did, definitely worth a second playthrough again. Even if, the major plot points are all still the same, there's enough small differences that brought me so much joy. What are my thoughts on the final cuts? So, final cuts came out, I think 1 year, 2 years? I think, well, maybe around a 1 year anniversary, because they just had the 2 year anniversary. So the final cut came out, it added voice acting for pretty much every single block of text in the game, and the voice acting is great. And originally, there would be some voice acting for each of the characters, but now having each of their voice lines acted out, like, I can hear the sarcasm in their voice, or hear their surprise, or hear the emotions that come through that you may not pick up just reading it. There's a lot of subtleties that the voice carries that is kind of lost in text. You know, and this is a known fact. Like, this is why when emails are sent or text messages are sent, like, there can be a lot of miscommunication that can be avoided just through speaking, just through talking on the phone. Doesn't have to be face-to-face or a Zoom call or any of those kind of things. Just talking conveys a lot of information. So that was awesome, just having the characters' voices. And even though there was some glitches where maybe what was being said didn't match the text exactly, or sometimes there was no voiceover, that was like maybe 1%, less than 1%. It was odd when it happened because the game is so good otherwise, but it was rare enough that it didn't really take, you know, it wasn't a big downside to the game at all. And the added political missions, so that's what the Final Cut brought as well. We have this huge net worth, which I do believe comes from our ultra-liberal decisions. And that was fun. It's not, I think, game-changing in any way, but it kind of helps us explore the world a bit more. We got to talk to Cindy the Skull, like buy and sell some art. Got to act like a big shot. It wasn't huge, again, you know, wasn't too crazy. Although, oh my goodness, this freaking change to the statue. Like, what the heck is this? Oh my goodness. Oh my freaking goodness. Idiot Doom Spiral. That guy, like, screwed us over so hard. But that was fun. It's a fun little side quest. I'm sure the communist, fascist, and moralist side quests are fun as well. And, you know, would I go back to try and play this again? Maybe. Maybe if I got some time. I mean, I wouldn't record it, but just for my personal amusement. Other thoughts. So thoughts on hardcore mode. It's okay. I think it's definitely not something you would do on your first playthrough. It's okay on your second playthrough when you kind of know what's happening, how to like engage in the world, what you know, what you can do to pass some checks, you know, make sure you can get some experience, how to, you know, finish some of the side quests. If it was my first playthrough, not knowing what to do, where to go, and having super hard checks, because that's all that it seemed really to do is, you know, increase the checks by like 5 or 6 points, which makes it really hard to do. And that would really be a bummer on the first playthrough. And if I were to play the game again, like, yeah, I'm glad I did it on a second playthrough, but on a third playthrough, I wouldn't want to do it. Like, if I want to do something, I want to be able to do something. I don't want to only be able to do it like 60% or 70% of the time. And yeah, hardcore maybe makes it more realistic in that you're going to not be able to do everything that you want. You're going to fail a lot more things. But, you know, more realistic doesn't always necessarily mean more fun in terms of gameplay. So, yeah, hardcore mode, interesting. Maybe a fun once through. Like, you guys kind of saw what hardcore mode was like. If you think it's something you'd want to do, go for it, but it's not something that I say, like, oh, you have to do it. Like, not every game needs to be Dark Souls-ish. We don't need super high difficulty on everything. So, don't feel like you need to play hardcore mode. Okay, some final closing thoughts. This series was a long one. It was probably over 40 hours of gameplay and recording, so yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be recording any more RPGs, especially not very text-heavy RPGs like this game was. So nothing like Pillars of Eternity or Divinity Original Sin. Those games are, although Original Sin is not that text-heavy, not anywhere close as this game is. But yeah, that was a lot. I hope, you know, it was fine for you all. I wanted you all to be able to experience everything that was going on here. But I suppose just in terms of being able to record and having enough time to show people like what's going on here, you know, it's an enjoyable experience, but it's a very long one, and I would believe it's not for everyone. So thank you. You know, especially to everyone who's been watching these videos, commenting on them, liking them. That's amazing. That's so great. Thank you so much for all that. It's been, as you can see, it's been a journey. It's been over half a year. I think this series started in April of 2021, and we're getting to the conclusion in November 2021. So definitely took a lot longer than I even initially expected. It's a very time-consuming game, and a lot of things are happening in my personal life that would, left little time for recording. So yeah, again, a huge thank you to everyone who watched this series. I hope you all found it enjoyable. If you have any ideas for what the next games are going to be, or what you'd like to see, or maybe anything that you think I can improve on in the future, please do let me know. I greatly appreciate it, and I do enjoy reading all of your comments. Some possibilities for what's coming up in the future, maybe going back to some more of those Telltale adventure games. I have The Wolf Among Us, and we did finish the Walking Dead series, that was a great series. I love the Telltale games. I think they're great storytellers and great game makers, so I'd love to see what they can do with other IPs. And definitely have some other new games, so maybe doing some one-shots, maybe showing off some roguelikes, some things like that. But this is the end of Disco Elysium, the end of this journey, but it is not the end of the channel. So as always, please do remember to take care of yourself. We're coming into the winterish months. It's getting cold, at least up here in the Northern Hemisphere. So it's really important that you take care of yourself with the declining daylight. The body, the mind, it takes a toll on us all as this year's winding down. So yeah, please do remember to take care of yourself. And for the last time, for the final time, we're not going to talk to Idiot Doom Spiral, but man, do remember to keep it disco, baby.